Shalom, shalom, shalom. I want to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachak, Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace, blessing, and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered abroad, teaching his word in truth and in sincerity. I'm back with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. So today I'm going to talk about the changing or the glorification the men of the Lord are going to get that we didn't get on this side. We're not here to get glorification. We're here to be servants. Scriptures say before honor is humility. So we have to first be in a servant's position before we can get the honor. But people in the world, they get that change or that glory in different aspects of life. So for instance, a kid, when they hit puberty, a lot of kids, not all kids, but when certain boys hit puberty, it's a change that happens to where physically you can see that person got taller, he got more muscular, he got more stronger, and he becomes more desirable to women, right? That's not everybody, but men do go through that. Or for example, say you're an artist, or you're somebody that wants to deal in the industry, and before you get to the status, people don't really know you like that, right? But then once you get the status, it's a change. People look at you different. Now you're famous. Now you're well renowned. Now you're known, right? So that's going to happen to the men of the Lord, both physically and spiritually, right? Because also, before we can enter into that physical change of the body, first your mentality has to be changed, right? So let's go get Romans, the 12th chapter, right? Before these things can happen, that the true transfiguration or the true glorification of the elect, you have to change your mind first. And when you change your mind, people might not notice it physically. They might notice the things you do, the way you move, but there's no physical change to that person. You know what I'm saying? It's like you think that person's the same person. If you're not counting a person who might have grown a beard or things like that, physically. But the way they move, you don't eat this no more. You don't eat that. You don't do this. You don't do that. They'll see the change in that way, but they might not see the changes happening, within a person, and the change that's going to come from a person actually removing these negative, wayward ideologies from a person's mind and actually changing it. So this is Romans 12:2. It says, "And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove that what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God." Right? So it says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And we understand that renewing of the mind is the spirit and the wisdom of knowledge of Yahweh Bashim Shai being bestowed upon you. Not being conformed to the world anymore. In that sense, you made a change, right? You made a spiritual, physical, or not a physical, a spiritual, a mental change. It says that ye may prove what is good, that good and acceptable and perfect will of God, right? So that's the first change you have to make in this truth, right? And this change right here, it's gonna turn into a physical change, of a person not operating in his old self or his old man. And also the heart got to change too, because we understand that the heart or the mind, right? We're making a change right now, but then in the kingdom of heaven, it'll be a full change where now we don't have the flesh, the stony hearts, but now we have the fleshly hearts. Now we can receive, the wisdom and knowledge of how Bashim Shai, and it's going to be embedded into us to the point where we don't go off anymore. So that's the next change when it comes to, being a man of Yahweh Bashim Shai who is changed over into that glorified body, getting that glorification, right? So at the end of the day, we all gonna get that, the elect, all the men of the elect, they gonna get that glory, man. You don't get the status, you don't get the fame, you don't get all the stuff that people right now get, or that people are right now are praised for. We don't get that times 100. All right, so let's go to let's see where I want to go. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 15. It's 1 Corinthians 15 and 51. We'll start it here. It says, "Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality." So when the corruption shall have put on incorruption, and his mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, "Death is swallowed up in victory." Right? "O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory?" So it's showing you right here that the elect is going to go through a change. It's going to be a change. You can't have, or corruption can't inherit incorruption. So for us to get that incorruptible crown, we have to be incorruptible. And so we're going to make a great change. And this is the change that everybody's going to notice. They're going to see it. It's going to be unlike anybody's change that you've ever seen on the earth. And we're going to get the glory. We're going to get the honor. We're going to get the everything that people get on this earth that people look up to. We're going to get all that, man. Right? So we don't have to worry about getting all these things on this side, or if we never got them. Because if we never got them, well, we can get them right now. You can get them, with doing the work of the Lord, which with having faith, with serving the Lord. You do it like that, and that real change is going to come. And this is the change that's going to be above every change, like a metamorphosis. You're turning into a butterfly, so to speak, from a caterpillar that that crawls on the ground, that then cocoons itself into a ball, so to speak, to like actually spreading your wings and flying, right? You're in that incubation period for a certain time before you become that butterfly. So that's the real transfiguration that's about to happen. We're about to be transfigured, and it's not going to be like the little change you make when you hit puberty. I got little girls like me now, stuff like that. Girls like me now. I'm tall now. I'm strong now, and I can, what I'm saying. My voice starting to come in. I'm deeper. Nah, we gonna hit something way more dramatic and drastic than what people of the world gonna get. Or you got a little money, you got a little fame, all the girls notice you. Now everybody want to be around you. Hey, we gonna get that times 20, man. We're gonna get that times 20. Let's go to the scripture real quick. See if I can bring this up real quick. Shame, because the elect is going to have fame too. See, this is the true fame. It says, Zephaniah 3:19 and 20, "Behold, at that time I will undo all that afflict thee, and I will save her that halteth, and gather her that was driven out, and I will get them praise and fame in every land where they have been put to shame." Right? So that's talking about the elect. We'll get praise and fame in every land where we have been put to shame. So that's true fame. Everybody talk about Michael Jackson. It's the bio, whatever movie that came out, and how people really cared and loved Michael Jackson. Hey, we're gonna be loved on a higher level, man. All right? It's not gonna be compared to the elect and the fame they gonna have. So Michael Jackson didn't have spiritual powers. Michael Jackson couldn't fly. Michael Jackson couldn't heal. Michael Jackson didn't enforce the laws of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. We're going to be the elect men are going to be those true famous men, the real men of renown, right? Right. So this is what is going to happen to the men of the Lord. That's that physical change that's going to happen. That's the physical change. You got a mental change, a spiritual change, mental change. You got a physical change, actual physical change that everybody will notice, man. Everybody's gonna know it. We don't know how the body's gonna look, but we know it's gonna be something that can subdue all things, right? So whatever that is, let's actually get that too. Subduing all things. Philippians, maybe it's 3. It's Philippians 3 and 21. I'm gonna start at 20. "For our conversation is in heaven, from whence also we look for the Savior, the Lord Yahushua Mashiach, who shall change our vile body, that it may be fashioned like unto his glorious body. So we're gonna have a glorious body, according to the working whereby he is able to even subdue all things unto himself. Right. So if we're gonna get that same ability to, with the elect, we'll get that same ability to be able to subdue all things, right, with that glorious body. Well, that means that the elect is gonna have them same powers, which means, man, how much a fame you're gonna have as a God on the earth that can subdue all things, right? Hey, man, it's about to be another level, man. That's why people, they look for fame and fortune right now, but it's only temporary, right? It's a corruptible. It's not a full, it's not the full level of fame or full level of fortune that we really supposed to have, you know? They're giving us pieces of the shit. They're giving us little pieces. Like, they're taking a big portion, they're giving us a little portion. And because we've been down so long, we accept it, you know, and we think it's something. But then when they get it, they see it's not really as important as they thought it was. Like having cars, fame, having women and all that stuff. That's not a big thing when you're famous. You start seeing how minuscule those things really are when you get that stuff. But the stuff we're going to get is going to be eternal. We're going to actually have this stuff for us. It's not going to be like, oh, we have it for a little bit, but we got to pay taxes on it. And if we don't pay taxes, we get it stripped away or whatever. You know, we're not able to lose this crown we get. Everybody has a crown for a particular moment. You know, I'm going to say everybody. But people who do certain things like sports, like who, you know, have goals in mind, they have a crown for a particular moment. But eventually the crown, you know, it's going to pass away. It's not going to be valuable anymore. It's like when you might get a couple belts. You know, you might be a boxer, you might get a couple belts. But eventually somebody else going to come along that can whoop you. You know what I'm saying? You was good for that era, but now it's a new era. The men of the Lord, they're gonna be good for all time, for all eras. Not gonna be just noticed in this era. Now they ain't nothing no more. Nobody really knows about them. Nobody cares about them no more. You know, they're gonna be forever immortalized, for real. You know what I'm saying? Immortalized. Not like Michael Jackson and you know, Michael Jordan and Mike Tyson and stuff. That's carnal things. We're gonna get an incorruptible crown. It's always gonna shine. Let's actually get that too. In what is that at? That's in 1 Corinthians. I think it's like 9. This is 1 Corinthians 9:25. And every man, let's see. I'm gonna start at 24. Know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize. So run that ye may obtain. And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible crown. Right, so they're temperate in all things, so they can get a corruptible crown, right? Whether that's praise, whether that's an actual medal, whether that's some type of money or status, it's still corruptible. It's still something that is tied to this world that's going to pass away, right? Basically, we do it for incorruptible. So what we doing is, it's the will of the Father, and those people who do that are going to abide forever. So they're literally going to be immortalized within what they've done, and the faith they had, and the way they moved, their integrity. They're going to be immortalized for what they did, you know? So this is what we should be seeking for. You know, men are seeking for fame and fortune and status and women and all this stuff, but all this stuff comes in the kingdom of heaven. All these things come with that glorified body, with that change, transfiguration, right? We're all going to get it. That's of the elect, of course. Everybody who's of the elect is going to get that transfiguration, that change, that glorification, that fame, you know, that fortune and everything. The women, right? Right, we'll lose now just to really hit big at the end. You know, we have to have the vision, though. It says, where there's no vision, the people perish. So you have to have the vision. You have to understand what you're working towards. You're running a race to win the prize. You got to know what the prize is, you know, or else you might not run to even get it, because you don't know how valuable the prize is. We know how valuable the prize is. You know, we understand we got to sell everything we have to go purchase that field, because we know what's in that field, and that's the treasure. That's more valuable than everything we have, right? And nothing that we can get on the side can be as valuable as what is in that field, which is the treasure, the kingdom of heaven, the promises, and things that we don't even know. You know, the what did it say? The treasures of darkness. You know, Those are the things that we need to seek for in these last days, man. But I want to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. Until next time, Lord willingly, Shalom.